This event, I mean, you hear that a lot. People put on an event, they say, it wouldn't be anything without you guys. You hear that a lot, but this time I really mean it. And I sort of feel like a mall Santa up here right now. I got my elf with me. But I get to have my lovely wife up here with me because she's a part of this medicine tradition with me, and I think it's very important to have the female presence with us on stage at the same time. So give it up for her. Now, I'm Spencer Iboga. I am here tonight to represent the Bwiti tradition. And this particular spiritual path has been around for thousands of years. It's something that originates in Gabon Africa, as you heard Stephen talk about earlier. It goes all the way back to the Pygmy people. And so we're talking about the original people of the earth. Now they know what they're doing because they found a very, very special plant in the forest. And this plant spoke directly to them. And when it spoke to them, it started to tell them about themselves and about their lives. And so they started to journey inside of themselves and study themselves. Because in order to study life, you have to study yourself, right? Yeah. So as you start to study yourself, you realize that nature is a certain way, right? We look outside and we think of nature as trees, as rocks, as oceans, as wind, all that stuff. But what they don't tell you is that you're actually nature, right? You are all of it. The four elements exist within your blood, your bones, your skin, your breath, the breath of life. All of those things exist right there. And so to understand our nature, you know, it's also like nature out there, but the nature of us, how we respond to ourselves and our lives. This is an important thing to talk about, because to understand our own nature is why we're living on planet Earth. Because once we know ourselves, nothing outside matters. Nothing outside, anything can happen in the world, and you're absolutely fine because you have you fully. And so, as they started to study life, they had to ask the question, what is life? Because in order to study something, you have to know what it is. The medicine told them directly the answer, and it's very simple. And it said, life is a gift. It's a gift. It was given to you for free. Everything, you know, these people are in the jungle. They look around, they see water, they see animals, they see all these things that they can use and feed themselves and clothe themselves. And say, who gave this to us? Medicine's like, don't worry about that, just say thank you. And that life is a gift. See, the tradition really wants you to simplify, bring you back to yourself in a way, because we have two parts to us, right? We have our minds, and we all know in the Western culture, our minds have become incredibly and increasingly loud with overstimulation. We have stuff hitting us in every angle. And the thing is we were never taught, very young, to be a gatekeeper for that. To let in what serves and to keep it out, because this thing has gotten so powerful and so strong and so cerebral over here in the Western culture that we've lost touch with that subtle voice. And I know a lot of you in this room, we have a group of people here that are really in touch with themselves. So I'm preaching to the choir. So I know you guys know. But to really find that voice, because that voice is not a loud voice, it's a very quiet, it's like, hey, go this way. Like Stephen was saying earlier, it's go this way, don't go that way. It's up here, we start going up there, and what we do is we get a thought and we just put it up here and it bounces around and we play up there, and pretty soon it's taking over. It's taking over your life. This tradition and this medicine helps us to distill and quiet out those things if we are willing and we bring our whole selves to it. And so this tradition and this medicine has changed me completely as a human being. You guys have seen my transformation over the years, I'm sure. And for those of you that have followed my journeys to Africa to learn this tradition, you've seen how that has taken place for me. And as we kind of understand this tradition deeper, we realize that kind of was with us the whole time. See, we have this idea in the West of healing, okay, well, it's called the healing journey here. In Africa, they kind of laugh at that. And here's why. They say there's no such thing as a healing journey. That you go in, you get right, and you live a happy life. Because think about what it does, right? If we say, you know, today I'm going to do this, and tomorrow I'm going to do that, maybe in 10 years I'll be a healed person, what we're doing is we're holding ourselves back from our happiness right now. The truth is that you can go in, clean house, get right with yourself, and be good, and stay there. And what that takes, that's a big one, because most people, a lot of people, aren't willing to be brutally honest with themselves. The truth of who you are is right in front of you. See, we spend our whole lives looking for truth. That's what we do as human beings. We're looking for truth. Where's the truth? I'm gonna go up the mountain, I'm gonna go find the guru, I'm gonna go read 17 books on the subject, and maybe I'll find the truth. And you get little pieces of it here and there. The problem is you're looking with it. You're looking with the truth. Truth's right here, where is it? You don't see it. It's right in front of your face. And so what they say is there's no healing, there's only realization. You know, we say to people that come in the door after they've had the healing experience at our retreat center, we say, the second you walked in, you were healed, you were just blocking it. That you walked in a healed being with all of your messy mind, and all you had to do was drop it. And it feels so good to finally be honest with yourself and say, you know what? I'm not gonna over-obligate myself anymore. I'm not gonna push myself until I fall down dead. I'm gonna live my life happy, joyful, and free. And that's a choice. And so, with this tradition, they emphasize very deeply choice. That everything in your life is a choice. We get that in ourselves really deeply, because you start to realize after you go through a journey like this, you start to realize that everything that you do, you've been signing up for. You've been saying yes to things you shouldn't say yes to, saying no to things you shouldn't say no to, and thinking about looking through other people's eyes at yourself about what you're doing. But guess what? There's nobody here but you. That's it. And so to get that power of choice back in your own hands, and then start treating yourself like that person you love, to become fully immersed and in love with your own life, so that nobody out there can tell you how to experience it. Because we do that, right? We let the world tell us how we're supposed to feel. And the reason that is because of these strange things called thoughts. We have all these thoughts, they show up, we don't know where they come from. Nobody knows, right? But guess what? That's all you. And until we know that, fully know that, and then an intellectual understanding is different than a knowing. Until we know that, experientially, we stay stuck. And then this thing runs like a motor. The problem is our relationship with this thing up here, we've been lying to it for too long. Because it's gotten kind of mad and tried to sidetrack everything that it thinks to work around your own dishonesty with yourself. And when I say that, I'm saying that to myself too, because we all have done it. But there's a time when you step through that door and you decide enough is enough, and you put it down for good and you walk away, it's done. It's over. It's simple. Now see, what we're dealing with here in the West, it's a big thing, because over there in Africa, they didn't start the problem and they don't have the problem. Basically what it is when you show up on planet Earth, you get given your cultural operating system, the way that everything is, your parents, the way that they think life is, and they pass the football to you and you take off running. That's how it works. Every single one of us. But as Stephen was saying earlier, we don't have what's called a rite of passage here. And that is the specific time in a young person's life when they become a sovereign being on planet Earth, responsible for their own thoughts and feelings. Not subject to the way their parents think they should be, not subject to the way that the operating system of the world tells them to be. Until we have that threshold in this culture, we remain sort of lost, and that's why this medicine has shown up. So, about 30 or 40 years ago, the time is kind of fuzzy, this medicine was not allowed out of Africa. Nobody knew what it was. If you went to Gabon Africa and you said, hey, I've heard about Iboga, they say, I don't know what you're talking about. The medicine decided it was time to spread forward because this world needs healing, as we can all see. Everybody needs to realize their own power. So within that, you have that rite of passage, you show up in your life and boom, you're there. Now what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with the rest of your life? Free from this, because guess what? When you go through that passageway, you realize that this thing works for you. That your soul is in charge. Your soul is your GPS. It points you in the direction, it knows exactly where you wanna go, and if you're in good relationship with it, it'll always talk to you. But we lose connection with that because it's been a subtle voice, and guess what? The rest of the world sounds like our mind. It's loud. So we all know, there's cultures that use meditation, all kinds of different modalities to get in tune with that soul, but that's really what it is to hear your soul so clearly and not play around with that voice. We all know the conscience, right? We all know that feeling. That's a tangible thing we all understand, the conscience. You know when you walk into a room and you're like, oh, I shouldn't do that, or I should do that, or whatever it is. You know. And so when you know, you know. That's how this tradition works, and that's how this medicine works. It allows you to actually know. And when you know, you never mess with that. And so to really go in and to wash out all of the programming that we've been given from a very early age. See, the Bwiti, they talk about a concept called two movies. There's two movies in Bwiti. The first movie is written, produced, directed by your family, your operating system, just basically what was given to you. Now somewhere along the path, around, let's call it 18 years old, the second movie begins. The problem is that most people make it a sequel. They continue on running with the same pain that was passed down from lineage, mother, daughter, granddaughter, down the line. They run with that ball. But the second movie is the one that's written, produced, and directed by you. So what are you gonna do with it? When we know that and we can put it down and walk forward, then we hold ourselves in a space of true self-love. Because that voice, that thing that's tapping at you all the time, that's how you really love yourself. So sometimes we call it tough self-love, right? We have to call it tough self-love, because self-love isn't just flower baths and essential oils and a little bit of ice cream for my self-love. It's something deeper than that. Sometimes I'll give you an example. So you have a 3-year-old, and that 3-year-old's on a playground, and it goes up and it smacks another kid. Well, what you do as a parent, you go up to the kid and you say, hey, we don't hit people. It's not how we treat people. Don't do it again, but it's okay, you're doing good, just don't do it again. And you instantly forgive that kid. Just go about your life. I want to ask you a question. How often do we do that for ourselves? How many of us in this room are still beating ourselves up for a choice we made? Something that, it's real. And so to love ourselves requires tough love. You have to get serious with yourself, look at yourself and say, look, you are my dude, you're my girl. I'm me, and I'm always gonna be me. And I've gotta love myself to a degree that my parents didn't teach me how to do, because they didn't know how to love themselves. They didn't know. And once you know, and once you can really love yourself to that capacity, then you're free, because nothing else can get to you. Somebody comes at you, yells in your face, buddy, I don't like what you did. You don't pay it too much mind. Because you know, all is well here. So to cultivate that space, that relationship with ourselves, that's what this tradition really calls for, and that's what it's about at its core. Is a cultivation of that true love and joy for life, to fall in love with your life again and go, look, I'm not gonna tolerate all these things I've been doing to myself for so long, I'm gonna put it down today. So, I'd like to honor a couple of my teachers, or one of them's here today, Stephen Mobengi. Can we give it up for him, please? Now, Stephen was my first teacher in this tradition, and I owe you a lot, brother, and I really love you. Thank you so much for being here and giving a talk for us. It means a lot to me. Our teacher, collectively, is the 10th generation shaman Mugenda Mikala. And both need to be honored here today. I want to thank all the First Nations people for being here as well and blessing this land, because it's really an important thing, especially going through initiation and, you know, studying this tradition. We understand that this land is borrowed. You know, we belong to the earth. The earth doesn't belong to us. And so to say thank you and to honor our ancestors here tonight, that's what this is about. It's to really give thanks for the land we stand on and the people that came before us, and to go back to the roots of the way that things were. Because guess what? Rebirth Festival, these culminations of culture that we're gathering together here, this festival life that we've all seen an emergence of, that's literally us returning back to the old way. And as we return back to the old way, we need to honor those that came before, and that's it's a big thing here, guys. And so I want to thank y'all for being attentive for that and to be here for this Rebirth Festival. I want to talk a little bit about what rebirth means, and I think I've done a good job of showing you, you know, the doorway I walked through. But to rebirth ourselves really is a commitment to ourselves, to really take care of ourselves, because when you do that, when you truly take care of yourselves, no question you take care of other people, no question you take care of the earth. That's where it starts. You can't be a miserable person and take care of other people. You can't be a miserable person and take care of the earth. You have to learn to accept and love yourself first. That's what we're doing here. And so as we grow this thing here, you know, we want to see this thing become a tradition here that's passed down through the generations. I would love it if your granddaughters and grandchildren were coming to Rebirth Festival. So what we do here tonight is literally the birth of Rebirth. We want to thank you guys for being here and to be a part of that, because it's you that does it. It's us, this is ours. This is us honoring ourselves and having fun. The way it was done in the beginning, which is loving each other and having a dance and listening to some music, and that is the ancient way that's coming back through all of the children that are here today. To all the kids that come and play with us, we thank you guys for being here. It's like such a joy for our hearts to see you all here tonight.
Woo! Yeah.
So, you know, we have a very special night tonight. We have the Mystic Vibrosis documentary that we worked very hard on. It's the world premiere. We want to thank you all for being here. It's a very personal journey that we've gone on. It's literally our entire lives, and we're very excited to share that with you. We put together probably my A-list of people that I would like to be here in terms of artists. We have some of the most amazing live painters. We have Mike Love, Soulseed, Alcyon, the Illies, Kailash, Indubious. Yeah. And so enjoy yourselves, everybody. We love you so much, and thank you for being here. Yeah. So, if anybody has any questions, I have a few minutes, so. So the medicine is, he asked what the medicine is called, and it's called Iboga. And so the difference between Ibogaine and Iboga, these, they have similarities.
That's
basically, Iboga is the fully intact root bark of the Iboga shrub. So it has over 34 alkaloids that work on you simultaneously in a synergy.
Can you do this?
Ibogaine is the one molecule, it's one of the alkaloids, distilled down, sometimes synthetically created, and made very strong, and that's used for detoxing people primarily. From heroin, from alcohol and benzos, things like that. Now, Iboga works in a different way. Now, Bwiti and Iboga, there's no separation there. Without Bwiti, there's no Iboga. Without Iboga, there's no Bwiti. So the tradition is part and parcel of the whole experience. And there's a reason for that. You need somebody there to understand how to work with the medicine and help you understand what's going on with you, what's happening. And so those two things is a good question because people get them confused a lot, and people will do research on Ibogaine and get a lot of misinformation about Iboga. But in a distilled version is Iboga has its spirit fully alive and intact. That medicine is fully with you as an entity, working with you and working on you. With Ibogaine, it's not the case. It's an incredibly good detoxer, but it's not going to heal the human being on the mental and spiritual sides.
So, could you kind of like describe the experience of it?
He asked me to describe the experience, and that's different for everybody. It's a very personal journey because this medicine, when it's put into your body, it knows where to go first. So what this medicine will do is go right to where it's needed. And for some people, that can be a visionary experience, and they can see movies about their life, and it can be a process of kind of going through the mind and organizing files, throwing out what doesn't need to be there, and putting things in better order. It can also help us go in and start to remove belief systems that are no good for us, and we knew it, but we didn't really know it. We have a lot of beliefs as human beings, a lot of ways in which we just believe things and we don't know it. That stuff starts to kind of get pulled out when it doesn't serve us. So some people will have the process of going in and getting a visionary experience. Some people don't have the visionary experience, but the medicine always works. It'll go in and go exactly where it needs to go, and this process is unique for everybody.
Yeah, it's different for everybody, right? Now I'm curious.
Oh yeah. So she asked, is there a distinct smell and taste, like once you've had it, you can smell it, that kind of thing? Yeah, absolutely. I'll be walking in the woods and I'll be like, that's the medicine. Yeah, you smell it, you taste it, you know what it tastes like. Once it's in there, it's an experience.
Hey, excuse me a second, sorry. Is it like foolproof, or are you gonna like feel some pain, like how like mushrooms could be if you take a mushroom?
Yeah, if you've been treating yourself poorly, you're gonna feel pain. What you pack in yourself, the emotions you stuff down inside, they gotta come out. They gotta come out the same way they went in. But it's almost as if it's a sped up process. And so, you know, we'll have people that come in that have been treating themselves so poorly for so long that their journey's a little tough, but the thing is it doesn't really have to be. It's how willing you are to accept the truth of who you are, what you've been telling yourself, the lies you've been telling yourself. Once you accept it, it's done. The second you walk through that door and accept what, you could just drop it right now. We have people come in with a really bad situation. They go in, they get the medicine in their body, and they say, that's it, I get it. Boom, I don't need the second ceremony, I'm good. And then we have people that want to hold on to it because it's, you know, the truth hurts. The thing about the truth hurting is that it hurts for a minute, and then once you accept, it's over. Then you're free. And so how willing you are to actually go in and face yourself is part of the process. Somebody coming in with full willingness, a willingness to go in and actually meet themselves on that level, they'll get what they come for. Because the medicine just wants to love you and it just wants to help you, and it's trying to show you the ways that you're doing poor things to yourself and have been for a long time. Can it be hard on your stomach? Yes, it can. Some people have a little bit of a rougher experience. Some people have a pretty easy one. Some people purge, some people do not. We've seen so much difference in the way that people respond to it that you can't really give a straight answer. It's just very person specific. And what you need, it's going to give you. You meet it with the fullness of who you are. You show up and say, I'm here. I'm not going to suffer anymore. I'm putting it down. And you'll walk through that door. It's when people come in and they don't feel 100% ready. If they got one toe in, right out. Coming in and meeting it head on and saying, look, I'm fed up. See, Iboga loves it when you're fed up. I'm just, there's stuff going on here that I'm not happy with. When you put that down, that process is as easy as you want it to be. But yeah, there can be some stuff, and Iboga likes to go in and actually clean the physical side as well. So it can completely detoxify a human body and kind of get out the gunk that doesn't need to be there. And some people are just gunkier than others. Yeah.
Gunkier.
So yes, the retreat center is Iboga Rebirth. You can look at ibogarebirth.com. We operate every month. So you guys can look us up and send us a personal message if you're more interested or want to find out more, and we can see if you're in a place that would be good for you to come and meet the medicine. So yeah, please reach out. Yeah, one of the 13 indigenous grandmothers was actually Bwiti, which I just found that out actually. It's pretty amazing. Great question. Anybody that shouldn't use Iboga? There is a screening process for this medicine because there's some things that interact poorly with it. Now, we can help you to kind of guide you to the right area if that's something we can do, and then some people are kind of ruled out. And basically, we look for anybody that's on, antidepressant medication like SSRIs. Most people I can imagine this group, if you are on them, you probably want off. So we can kind of counsel you to talk to your doctor to get you off safely, and that's a medicine that interacts poorly with this medicine. Certain heart conditions we kind of rule out, some congenital stuff, and we look for medicines that alter QT interval in the heart. And there's not too many of those, but we watch out closely. So there's a health assessment, and you talk to us and fill out a nice long form, and we'd see if you were ready for the medicine. It's delivered, this medicine is delivered in root bark form. Yeah. So it's like a ground bark. Yep, yeah, you swallow it down with water. Mm-hmm. Yep, it's the way they've been doing it since the beginning. Well, thank you guys so much. I think I'm over my time. Can we give it up for Mr. Mike Love, everybody? Thank you guys.